Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to class. Super excited to get back into this classroom after a couple of weeks of being gone for the Quantum Revolution tour in Vegas. It was amazing. I know some of you guys were there. If you weren't, hopefully you guys will be at our next event. We're doing Vegas again, and there's a whole bunch of metaphysical reasons why we're going to be there again, and also what we're doing is we're really getting our tour kind of grounded in our team and our crew. And before we go international again, we want to really make sure that everything is flowing and working. We love the hotel. We love the staff. We just had a really great time, and it was easy for everybody to get there internationally. So that is the purpose of the next tour being in Vegas again. And I just wanted to welcome you guys back to class. Good morning, everybody. I'm excited about this class. I've been super excited to get back into teaching just for the last week. Teaching is how I literally kind of mind dump everything that kind of comes through. And my level of empathy and sensitivity and telepathic communication, would you say, is I'm always not just getting downloads from myself, but I'm getting downloads from you guys. And I'm constantly getting the downloads of what you guys are going through and what collective consciousness is going through. And it really gives me an outlet to be able to give you guys some tips and tools and support. And it's a support system that we have here. So welcome back to class. I'm going to jump in. Today I want to teach about basically tools for leveling up, dealing with echo effects, understanding narcissist and empath relationships. Yep, exactly. So the reason why I want to cover these things is because we're all leveling up. This third stage of awakening that we're in for the ascension is I demonstrate, which is our solar plexus energy. And we've been doing a lot of work in our academy, in TICA, and on the Quantum Revolution tours, and individual in our mentorships and our teacher training to really get the root and the sacral healed through its memory centers of trauma and abuse, rejection, abandonment, and understanding that us as energetic, influential, basically hypnotic beings, that we are constantly absorbing and communicating through our awareness, our environment, through our bodies, through our memories, through our cellular memories, through our subatomic memories, through our ancestral memories, and in our dreams, visions, hopes, and expectations as well. So we're always bringing in information, and we're pushing out information based on who we are as an energetic being. And it's very difficult to manifest a solid, peaceful, happy, joyful reality when you have a lot of stored information, trauma, and set points that create mindsets and create behavior and habits in our lower chakras. So our lower chakras are the human mortal versions of us, although they are multidimensional in their function point. They are really about grounding and creation and personal power center of how we interact with our environment and how we create form from energy into matter. And that all happens in the lower chakra system. So if you guys were in the Quantum Revolution tour, you were all on that I am journey, and we really focused on your root and your sacral and your solar plexus that weekend. And you're thinking, oh, I thought we were becoming a superhero. And absolutely, because the top level of your chakras, your heart is the mediator point. So you've got 3 chakras that reside in non-physical reality, and you've got 3 chakras that anchor into, bring non-physical reality into physical reality, which is your bottom 3 chakras in your heart center. Your heart chakra is your mediator. It is your neutral. It is your unconditional space. It is the chakra that does not play in duality, and it does not function in duality. It stays in a constant state of I am and unity and unconditional love and support and all of those things. So that's really what we're working towards. So to identify that when we're doing a lot of work in the root and the sacral, we're going to be having to kind of get in there and dig around. And a lot of you guys have reached out and said, I was on fire, you know, I have my I am, I know exactly who I am, and now I'm literally being faced with opposition, challenges, I'm being faced with narcissism, hate, and I've been teaching about this for years in TICA, so it's not new information, but I think that every time we level up, we need this kind of full circle connection-based class again, because every time we level up, we kind of forget what happens because we feel so good. Like you can get on this extreme high and your vibration is so high and you're feeling so powerful and you're feeling so together that you literally kind of forget about what is anchored and what is in your body, what is in your collective energy field. And because it's not being triggered in that moment, or it's not being needed in that moment, it's not being felt in that moment, so you're staying in this kind of high vibe. And when that happens, what you're doing is you're going to uproot. And it's kind of like if you've ever dusted a house, what you're doing is you're going to move all of that stuff that's been really, really, really repressed and buried. You're going to start bringing it up. And anytime you bring something up from the root or from the sacral energy, it manifests very quick in your reality. It's because your root is your anchor point. It is density itself. It is very masculine energy as far as action-based manifestation through basically feelings and ideas and potential and buried vibration. So if there's buried vibration, you're going to re-manifest those things in your environment as you're leveling up. So it's almost like this uprooting. And I've taught about this probably over 100 times in the last 6 years, because it happens to all of us. And it happens, it always feels like a blind side. It always feels like, why am I manifesting this? It always feels confusing. It still hurts no matter how enlightened you get. And so I wanted to really talk about this idea of duality in leveling up. You know, we're here to level up, which means we think consciously that we are going towards the light, going towards the light, going towards the light, but we actually are the light. And we're here to heal our inner narcissist, our inner lack, our inner judgment, our inner pain, our inner traumas. And when we don't heal those things, or when we begin to heal those things, we also project them outwardly, and then they manifest back to us as the law of reflection. And it's very confusing if you don't know how this whole earth game works. It's very confusing, and it can feel very unsettled. So it's very important that you guys really understand how the law of reflection works, so you don't get so triggered all the time when you're feeling really high and something creates the bottom to drop out in your reality. And when something drops out of your reality, like your perfect vibration or your feelings, or something goes terribly wrong from your perspective, it's very important that you understand the dynamic of why that's happening, so that you can still let your body experience what it needs to feel emotionally, but you're not necessarily attaching yourself to the outcome, and you're not necessarily attaching yourself to what is. You're staying in that observation place and that observer to witness what it is that you're experiencing, and witness what is happening to your body. Because really, everything we have left to clear on this planet, empaths, is body stuff. Body pain, body memories, cellular memories, ancestral pain, karmic pain. And it's buried in a blueprint in your DNA and your cellular memory until literally it's exposed. So triggers are so important, because without a trigger, the fire is not basically the trigger is like the match that ignites a fire. But what it does is it forces pain out. It forces information forward. It forces trauma up. It forces avoidance up. It forces fear up. And we need it to come up, because if it's not up, we don't know it's there. And it isn't a fun human experience. It's not. But if it doesn't come up, you don't actually know where you're completely vibrating, because your conscious awareness does not keep tabs on your subconscious awareness. It doesn't know where your subconscious is still unaware. It doesn't know where you're still in judgment. It doesn't know where you're still in pain. It doesn't know all of those things, because your conscious mind is a forward thinker, dreamer, visualizer. That's what its job is to keep you forward motion. Which means you fall down, your conscious mind is like, let's pick ourselves back up and let's keep going. Your subconscious is like, I don't want to keep going. So because we keep falling down, I keep remembering this falling down. So this integration of our lower chakras and our higher chakras is literally going to be first and foremost reactivated through the solar plexus. The solar plexus is going to be kind of the protector of, and protection is not a great word, but kind of the leader of how you're going to be able to project your truth, how you're going to be able to demonstrate your truth of your true soul. And it's also going to govern and act as that kind of both feminine and masculine aspects for you to be able to demonstrate you being a human on this planet as well. So what I really wanted to talk about is narcissism, because there's 3 echo effects that happen, and I teach this a lot. And the first, and an echo happens when you level up. So when you start to say yes to yourself, when you start to say, I am ready, when you start to say, I am free, when you start to make those kind of intentions, the whole universe goes, okay, let's see what you got. Prove it. You say you're free? Let me throw a couple of things at you that don't feel free. And let me see how you can stay in your I am. Let me see how grounded you can stay, how loving you can stay, how focused you can stay. Because if you can't focus when something is happening around you, then you don't completely believe that you are free. So we're going to kind of throw things at you to test your I am. Because an I am statement that is integrated through all 7 chakras is unlimited potential. Unlimited. But if your heart is saying, I am free, and your voice is saying, I am free, and you're visualizing in your third eye, you being free, and your crown, your eye, your true higher self knows that you're free, but your root has never been free, and your sacral doesn't feel safe to be free to express itself sensually or creatively, and the solar plexus is all like, well, we don't really want to shine, then you're not going to be able to manifest a life that is free, which means you have 7 factors that determine your belief systems, and each one of your chakras holds a different perspective and a different idea of its intention that makes up your body. So the root is basically, I am safe, I am connected, I am grounded, and it represents childhood and money and survival and unity, or on the other side of unity is kind of like a hive mind aspect or a collective, like followers, like a sheeple type of energy. And then the sacral energy is our sensual, it's our immortality, it's our creative energy, it's how we literally manifest our reality from what we decide through desire of the root chakra. And then the solar plexus is where you embody that. It is the embodiment of your desires and your creation coming into form. It is how you carry yourself. It is how you hold yourself accountable. It is your focal point. It is your discipline, right? And so without those things being in alignment, they begin to kind of get weak, just like muscle gets weak. And they start to send the incorrect signal through the satellite system of the universe that I am not free, that I am not safe. And then we begin to manifest in our physical reality, and then we get confused because your I am up here, or your higher consciousness, or your focused consciousness, your forward consciousness is literally like, I'm confused because we're doing the affirmations and we're doing everything, but it's still, it's not working out. Or if it does start to work out and you start to get really aligned, then you start getting tested in your alignment. And I think that's what's happening with a lot of you guys is you're getting really super aligned, and now you're being tested, right? It's like think about it. If someone built like the perfect car and it had everything that it was supposed to have, it would have to go through excruciating tests to make sure everything worked before they sold it on the market. Why are we any different? It's literally like the same thing. The universe is going to test you. It's going to test your backbone. It's going to test your vulnerability. It's going to test your courage. It's going to test your strength. It's going to test all of the things about you that you say you're becoming. And so what you're supposed to do is literally stand in your I am no matter what is happening. So let's look at the empath and narcissist relationship, because I think that this is what happens. It's one of the first echo effects that happens to all of us is when we stand in our truth, when we stand in our light, when we start to become aligned, when we start to demonstrate our heart, when we start to put ourselves out there, when we start to bring courage to our vulnerability, usually you'll get attacked. And it's either attack, it's judgment, it's ridicule, it's blame, it's whatever it is. It's a lower frequency that is not at all what you want to be experiencing when you're literally putting yourself out there. And it is kind of the first test that the universe will put you through to see, are you who you say you are? How are you going to deal with this? You say you're free, you say you're loving, you say you're confident, you say you're abundant. let's throw something at you and test you and see if you really are the I am. Because if you are the I am through circumstances and event and what is happening, then basically you literally become that being, and you don't have to deal with those scenarios anymore in that way. And if you did manifest a scenario like that, it would not trigger you. It would not create any sort of dysfunction in your physical reality at all, because it would not have anything to do with you, and you would be very aware that that was nothing to do with you. So people ask me all the time, please do videos about narcissists, and I'm getting attacked for no reason, and they're literally singling me out, and it's like, what is the purpose of narcissists? Most of us as empaths have been in a co-creative twin flame narcissistic relationship, guaranteed. Whether it's your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, your spouse, one of your kids, you're guaranteed to have this. And here's why. Most people don't know actually what a narcissist is. You say that word and you're like, ugh, right? And oh gosh, no, yes, I know exactly what that is. But what is it? What is a narcissist really? A narcissist really, very important, is a wounded empath. That's what a narcissist is. It is a wounded empath. That is why narcissists are so intuitive. That's why narcissists can be so sensitive and aware of your trigger points. That is why they're very, 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 very good manipulators. That is why that they are in so much pain. It's because basically what happened is, as a very sensitive being, something triggered them to not feel safe, not to feel loved, not to feel seen, not to feel hurt. And instead of going through that and healing that experience for themselves, or finding the way back to love, they decided that love was the enemy of their own beingness, which means that they are love. And because they were so mistreated or abandoned or rejected, they decided that in order for them to live as the empath that they knew they were going to channel their entire reality through pain, through suffering, through avoidance, through all of the lower frequencies. And why empaths are so attracted to narcissists is because what's underneath all of that scary demeanor is an empath just like yourself. There is an empath in there, and that's why they're so powerful, because so are you. And if you understand duality, opposites are always coming together when there needs to be awareness, which means that you say, oh, I want to attract my soulmate. But if you don't have awareness of your own beingness, and you don't have self-love, if you don't have self-confidence, then you're going to be naturally attracted to the opposite of yourself, so that you can become aware of yourself. Because it's like I said in the QRT tour in Vegas, is pain and suffering is usually your fastest tool to wake up. It is not something that has to be, but it is something that we have chosen as empaths and light workers to help us get the memo quicker, because pain will get our attention. And most of us are not super good at living inside of our bodies, and pain will bring you into your body pretty quickly. A trigger will bring you into your body pretty quickly. A blind side will bring you into your trigger pretty quickly. And so the universe is constantly in this relationship with you to help awaken the parts of you that slumber. So the way that it's going to help you wake up the fastest is to put you into a relationship or a situation with a narcissist. And a narcissist is going to basically be you reversed on the spectrum of the frequency scale. So if there's a frequency scale and love is at the top, and grief and fear and hate are at the bottom, all you're looking at is a reversed opposite reflection of yourself. And you may never hurt someone's feelings and do the things that a narcissist does, but there are aspects of you that are asleep within you, that are dormant, that hold the same pain that the narcissist holds. And the narcissist using his energy to perpetrate your victim energy. And I teach a lot about this victim and perpetrator situation, because if you look at empath and you look at narcissist, one is a perpetrator and one is a victim, but they come from the same frequencies, the same energy source. It is all love, but one is translating love through pain and one is translating love through love, right? And so why you're so attracted to an opposite of yourself is because you need to awaken a part of yourself. I'm not saying all of you, but there is a part of every single one of us that remains asleep. And that's why we get triggered, and that's why we attract narcissists, and that's why we attract certain things, because we set these powerful intentions that we want to be free and abundant and loved and be in joy, and we want to be happy. And so the universe says, okay, so step into that character, method act that, become that, live as that, speak as that, talk as that. And while you're practicing your new model or your new character or your new script or however you want to call it, the universe is going to throw you curveballs to see if you can sustain your vibration. Okay? And when you don't sustain your vibration, a part of you goes back to sleep. Because the most natural thing that happens when we get triggered, no matter what, is when we get triggered, we immediately go unconscious. And then the primal part of you, the ego mechanism part of you, shifts into defense. Now, the narcissist energy, right, or whatever is playing the narcissist of your life, whether it be your coworker, your boss, your bank account could be a narcissist towards you too. Any role that's playing its narcissist is literally challenging you to step into your I am more aware, with more awareness. And when you fall back asleep and you get defensive, it is literally, defense is a narcissist's favorite thing in the world. So if you are going to defend yourself against a narcissist, you're going to find yourself in the same frequency as the narcissist. Because what happens is, and we talked about this last night with Darius and I, we did a live video about this, is when you are triggered, you go from love to pain pretty quickly. Now, you may not, your conscious awareness might not know you're in the vibration of anger and pain and frustration and fear, but your body is. And therefore, you're actually at the same frequency as our narcissist now. And now the narcissist has something to communicate with, something to fight against, something to argue, and something to challenge. So if you drop out and you go to defend yourself, which is one of the most natural things for us to do, is defend our position. It is literally like, because you want this person on the other side of this table or whatever to understand that you aren't the way that they're claiming that you are, that you didn't do it the way they said they are, even though they're giving you this communication that makes you feel like, did I do that? Because it's master manipulation, as they are an empath. So they have the exact same intuitive gifts that you have, but they're processing it through pain and fear and hate, and you're processing it through love and joy and play, and therefore you're very confused how you can be so manipulated so quickly by a narcissist. And it happens to all of us. So I don't want this to be like, oh, so sorry this happened to you. It's going to happen. The more you level up, the more you're going to face your opposite in the mirror. And when you face your opposite in the mirror, if you literally take my advice in this and say to yourself, okay, a narcissist is a wounded empath. You actually, just by having that thought, just by me saying that right now in my body, looking at my own kinesiology, I felt a shift in my gut because I felt truth. I felt compassion. And I also know that speaking out loud to a narcissist is also very, 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 very unconscious to who you really are, because you have become the enemy. And therefore, you're going to play the role of the enemy no matter how good of a person you are, no matter how much you've helped them, no matter how much you've supported them. They don't see any of those things in those moments of unconsciousness that they have. And they are literally looking at you as you are the metaphor of all of their pain, which means in everything that's ever been done to them, they have carried as a baggage, and they hold it in very tight memory center. And when they get around you, you remind them of something that has hurt them, or you remind them of something that relates to their pain. And then the only way that they can defend their position is to attack you and make you feel very small, because that is how they feel inside. And just like we can be around someone and we can help someone feel love, they can be around someone and make them and have them feel pain and hate, because they want to relate to someone. They want you to feel the pain that they're in. They want you to feel scared because they're scared. They want you to feel terrified. They want you to feel humiliated because that's the way they feel. Just like us empaths, we can go into a room and we can make everybody feel happy and love. So it is our superhero gift. If you've watched any superhero movie in the world, you know that there's the villains and then there's the good guys. And this is your empath and your narcissistic relationship. Both are equally powerful. Both are equally powerful. And this happens a lot of times to my spiritual friends, is you guys start putting yourselves out there and you open your wellness centers and you open up your retreat centers, and all of a sudden someone that is literally a loving empath comes into your environment, and 2 weeks later you realize they're a narcissist, and you're going, oh my gosh, how did I manifest this? You manifested this because you're leveling up, and your job is to learn discernment. Your job as an empath is to learn boundaries. Think about what a narcissist and an empath learn from each other. So an empath needs a backbone, they need boundaries, and they need to be very aware of their self-love, okay? And a narcissist has no tolerance. It is living in extreme violent energy, and it is all about perpetration. But it also usually has a very strong stand. They're usually very confident and charismatic. They're usually very secure in what they believe. They're very righteous in their rebellion and their racism and their ignorance. They are very, very confident. And their confidence is what scares empaths, because empaths have a tendency to not be confident. So what happens is, if you don't have confidence in yourself, but you need confidence to become this I am that you are, you'll attract a narcissist that will literally challenge you to step into your courage, be more confident, speak your truth, love yourself. So there is a divine duality gift in the narcissist empath relationship. And the reason why an empath attracts a narcissist is because they need to learn this confidence and this backbone and this strength and this charisma. And this narcissist needs to learn to soften and love and forgive and allow healing. So you'll come together, you'll totally destroy each other in ways that you think, well, I didn't destroy the narcissist because the narcissist is just off doing it again. But being around a true empath, the narcissist has now planted the seed and will know deep down in its lower levels of consciousness that love does exist. And even if it takes that narcissist a few lifetimes, you've planted that seed and you've given that narcissistic gift. And no matter how long they want to hold on to that pain is their choice. But the narcissist will just go like a time bomb into all these empaths' lives, shaking things up, trying to break you free of your cowardice and your smallness and your insecurities. Because the one thing that I know about the narcissistic relationships that I've had in my life, they have literally built me. My narcissistic relationships have built and designed me. I had no backbone, I had no confidence, I had no self-love, and every time I would get a little bit, I would chase after a narcissist thinking that it was love, you guys. And what would happen is they would destroy the parts of me that I was in avoidance of or that I was afraid of, and all that happened was a resurrection phase that was literally like the phoenix, where you literally burn into ashes and then you come back. So if you are facing some sort of narcissistic attack or judgment or racism or hate against you, then know that you are stepping into the fire and that you are actually at the end of this holographic level and you're about to complete this cycle, and how you stay true to yourself. Do not abandon yourself. Use something called time and space as a barrier, as an invisible boundary between you and the narcissist. Because again, a narcissist's job, its full intention, is to bring you into the lower frequencies. That is the job. I just had a recent manifestation of being attacked by a narcissistic energy, and again, this was from the love and light community. So it doesn't mean they're necessarily like the unwoke. I'm telling you, the narcissists that you're going to find are highly, highly intuitive, and will even have a job on the outside that looks like a huge contribution to the world. And you'll be like, well, they do this and they do this and they do this. How can they be a narcissist? Because the thing is they're still an empath, but they're using you as their whipping boy or whipping girl to get even with mom and dad, or what something that happened with them, because they're just literally in a constant state of PTSD, and they don't have enough awareness or consciousness in their own intuition to be present in the body to know that you are a brand new person to them. It just feels like your energy is reflecting back to them something that they have to attack and have to belittle, and you have to become small. Also, you're able to shine your light and they're not. So we understand too that if they don't feel safe to shine their light and you do, you're going to be literally that you're going to get hated on, and people that hate on you are going to attack you. And if you go silent, they're going to attack your friends and family. And if your friends and family go attack, they're going to attack something that you've done. But I'm going to tell you the secret, and I gave this away last night, is if we understand and we look at this as a non-emotional space and we keep our feels out of it, and we just look at this relationship that happens within us all at some point, and you're faced with a narcissist, whether it even be a close family member or your spouse, is that they feed on attention, okay? They have to have intention to continue their patterns. Attention is the thing that feeds their life force energy. And because they can't keep their own attention, because they don't have their own self-love, because they don't have their own self-identity, they have to have attention from other people. And you'll notice that our narcissist will never be alone for a very long time. They will always be in a relationship. They will always be running a company. They will always be embedded into many, many, many people, because they can't be alone. They don't know who they are without the projections. So the one thing that you can do is you can stop giving them your attention. Stop giving it your attention. Your attention is the very thing that creates the entanglement. Your attention towards it. They will even have you falling in love with them, and they will have you falling into their patterns, because you will immediately drop into a frequency from love into grief, which means they will basically give you their charisma and give you their love, and then as soon as you're entangled, they will take it away. And now you've fallen into the lowest frequency that exists, called grief. And grief feels like homeless love. So for the next 2 to 7 years, you're literally trying to get love from this person, because now you're no longer in love as an empath, you're in grief, which means you're never good enough, you can never say the right thing, you can never do the right thing, you can never have enough for this person to actually love you. But they keep you on this string, and when you start to kind of move away from them, they say, you know, I'm the only one that's going to love you, or I'm the only one that's going to protect you, or you know, you're a bad person, but I see what's underneath. And it's this master manipulation that happens. And every single one of us have gone through it. So the way that we deal with this is you take your attention away from it, okay? Because your attention is what entangles you in this physical reality. Your attention too. Your focus is actually your consciousness anchoring onto something, which means when you're focused on negativity, you're becoming it. When you are listening to someone's horrible story and you're sitting there saying, I don't really believe in this, your body is being impacted because it's a physical focus, and you're there being polite listening to it. When you're listening to the news, you are literally listening to, in a very alive, collective, narcissistic influence we call hypnosis, that puts your brain into alpha in about 20 seconds when you watch the news, and it implants inside of you, see, you are not safe here. You are just one person, right? And you find yourself locking your doors. So it's narcissism is not necessarily a person, it's an idea. It is the idea that love has been corrupted into pain, and pain must prevail, just like love must prevail. And it is basically two it is two ideas that are at war with each other. And when you fight against a narcissist and you defend your position, you actually become a vibrational match. So this is where you have to pull back your energy. This is where your ego is going to be like, but I need to stand up for myself and I need to protect myself. And if you do that, you can't fight for peace. You can only love for peace. So what you can do is you can have the thought that I have, is immediately you can see the wounded empath. You can see that their level of unconsciousness is they're not going to hear what you say and they're not going to listen to what you do. They don't want you to be right. They don't want to feel better. They want you to feel worse. They want to commiserate with you and they want to hold you accountable to the pain that they feel inside. And that is their only intention. So when you drop out and you drop into the lower frequencies, now you're exactly a vibrational match to that relationship. And we happen to marry these people a lot. And now you're stuck, right? So this is what people go, is this my soulmate? I just wish he would love me. I just wish he would see how much I love him. And that is the narcissistic empath relationship that will eventually destroy you, or what I like to say, crack you open as a seed so that you can bloom in your own self-love, okay? So I felt like this was really important because I have never met anybody that didn't go through this on some perspective or some level. And to identify that first and foremost, there's a wounded empath. And then to say, my job here is to keep my vibration in the highest place that I can maintain right now. And the only way that I can do that is to create some time and space between what is happening. So if you're living with the narcissist, you have to be very careful with your language, because they will take your language and manipulate you with it, which means they will take your own teachings and your own practices and they will use it against you to manipulate you. And because they're so intuitive, you literally get confused about yourself and it destroys your self-love in these relationships, okay? So your job is no fighting, no discussions. The things that you can say, because obviously you're going to have to speak some words if it's not a social media attack, what you can say is, I am not going to have this argument with you. You're allowed to feel how you want to feel, and I'm going to process what I need to process on my own. I'm going to take some time and space. And this is literally taking your tension away. I'm going to deal with this on my own. Not you're right, I'm wrong. Because here's the thing, they can't see you, they can't hear you, they can't feel you. They can only feel the pain. And therefore they're manipulating you intuitively by the pain that's buried inside of you. And if it triggers you, it's going to resurrect that pain, and then you're going to work through that. But you can't work through that with your narcissist. You have to work with your own inner empath, which means you got to take that trigger and you've got to go and you've got to heal it on your own. Don't take that trigger to your narcissist and say, can you help me with the trigger you just gave me? Because they'll just give you another trigger. And they'll just keep triggering you and keep triggering you. And I think that is something that you should really reflect on now. If you are in a narcissist relationship in 2019, you might want to rethink it, because you're never going to be able to completely get into self-love if you have to stay in avoidance of the people that you're around, whether your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, your spouse, even your kids. There has to be time and space in order for you to start to feel yourself again. You know, when you back out of a narcissistic attack, you go, okay, here I am. Okay, this is me. I'm not small. I'm not belittled. I'm not nothing. I'm not a bad person. And then you go, oh, now I want to go talk to them about this. And then boom, all of a sudden you feel this big again. So your job is to begin to eliminate these toxic relationships. Stay in your I am. Stay focused in your truth. Stay focused in your love. See them as a wounded empath. Send them love to their heart. Send them love to their body. Send them love to their stories. Send them what they need. But don't tell them you're doing that, because they will twist it and they will literally reject you, and they don't have to accept it, but the seed has been planted in their field. And then your job is to no attention, because you have to stay in boredom. If you look at the frequency chart, you have to stay in at least boredom in order for a narcissist to get excited about you. If you get really bored by a narcissist, if you get really bored by your money problems, if you got really bored by your body problems, it's just like, this is boring. I'm no longer giving my fear to my body. I'm no longer giving fear to money. I'm just bored with it. That is the state of neutrality at the 0 point of frequency where all creation can begin. If you think about it, boredom is where your genius turns on and you start to get creative. Boredom is literally where you're content. and you're also kind of like content with, okay, really? So if you can stay in that space, the narcissist will have nothing to feed on. Okay, it's literally kind of like equivalent to a parasite. And if you've ever done a candida diet, the one thing that you do is you take sugar away, and then there's nothing for it to eat. So a narcissist needs something to eat in order to feel alive. It needs adrenaline. It needs adrenaline to feel alive. It needs the attack to feel alive. It needs the perpetration to feel alive. And it also needs to feel victimized to feel alive. So it's not always perpetrating. Sometimes it's a professional victim that is perpetrating their victim energy at you. You know, it's like I have a lot of parents who have narcissistic children, and these narcissistic children are professional victims. And these narcissistic children are professional victims where you're literally continuing to bleed yourself dry for their victim standpoint. But the narcissism inside is it's your fault that they have nothing, and it's your fault that they don't have anything. So you keep supplying the victim, the sick person in your life, the broke person in your life, the one-sided friendship in your life. That is a narcissistic relationship that you are in, and you can never fix this person because they don't want to be fixed. They don't want to be fixed yet. That is important, yet. But if enough empaths go through their lives, they will have a shift when they're ready to awaken back into love. This is the stories of the fallen angels, you guys. This is the story of the Luciferian and the Christ consciousness. This is the idea of separation. This is the idea of empathy and narcissism. This is the story of duality. And it's not going to change until we see everything as love. And it has to also not just be about them you're giving love to. It is, if I give my attention to a narcissist, I am now in self-abuse. And this destroys your relationship with you. And that separation begins a lifetime of unhappiness and lack and poverty and suffering and body problems. Because once you separate from yourself, you become the empath and the narcissist inside of you. Because your ego becomes the narcissist, because your ego doesn't feel love, and your empath or your heart is now in a separation. And you're going to manifest those relationships everywhere you go. And that's why I created the Warrior Training Workshop, because it is all about finding our inner narcissist. It is about healing the perpetrator and victim energy within ourselves, and how to deal it with outside of ourselves, how to use time and space, how to change the idea of turning waiting into preparation, how to level up, how to be in true ideas of compassion and what love actually is. And that is the workshop that we just completed to get everybody ready for the Quantum Revolution Tour. And I know you're all in your powers of your I ams. But don't get it twisted and feel like you're doing something wrong if you face something like this. It can be extreme or it can be low scale. But when you start to feel small around anyone, that is not a soul-mated relationship. That is the narcissist empath relationship that is designed to crack you open. People ask me, is this person my soulmate? Is this person my soulmate? And I say, okay, it's a simple frequency and vibration question. When you're around this person, do you love yourself? When you're around this idea, does your life get bigger or smaller? Is your life more expansive and growing with this person? Or is it getting smaller and you're getting more broke and more tired and more sick? And they say, well, it's getting really small, but I love this person, and oh, they're so attractive, and oh my gosh, there's like this infatuation. And I say, welcome to your narcissist. This is the person that loves you so much on the other side of the veil that is going to crack you completely open and bring you back to self-love. And that is their job for you. And it is a very important job in our awakening. And it is a very important role that they're playing. And from the other side of the spectrum, where there's no good or bad, and on the other side of the veil, where we're all just playing a virtual reality game, they love you so much that they're standing in that place as that narcissist for you to crack you open and bring you back to love all the way. And get you strong and courageous, guys, because empaths, we got to stop being weak. We got to stop being afraid of our own empathy. We got to stop claiming our sensitivities that are keeping us locked up in cages. It's like, it's time for us to shine. And when you start to shine, you're going to face opposition. And when you face opposition, you get to shine, because the brightest stars are in the darkest nights. You will be able to shine your brightest in opposition. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I'm going to do a class on Saturday morning for TICA, and it's going to be the kind of the summary of the QRT tour of the IM, but it's going to go a little bit deeper into things that I couldn't stay on stage. So we're going to go deep into the IM, and then at 11:30, I have a live question and answer in our TICA group, in our subscription group on Facebook. And there's about 16 questions, so I'm going to do my best to get through all of those, and I'm super happy to be back into class. I can't wait to see you guys all in our classrooms, and thanks for joining me today.